What if you're over 70 and the grilled salmon you savor for dinner, that flaky omega-rich treat you've trusted for gut health and energy boost, is the very thing poking holes in your lining overnight? What if that superfood bite, the one you flake with a fork while reminiscing about summer barbecues from your 50s, is quietly feeding bad bacteria, sparking leaks that let toxins slip into your blood, turning your belly from calm to chaos by dawn? What if the bloat that wakes you foggy, the cramps that cancel your morning walk, or the off-tiredness that dims your chats with grandkids isn't from sugar or red meat? It's from the wrong kind of fish. That's because certain species carry mercury, excess sodium, or industrial pollutants that quietly inflame your gut while you sleep. You wake up thinking you just need coffee, when in fact your digestion has been fighting all night to keep up. In the next few minutes, we'll uncover 5 common fish that can silently sabotage your gut and brain. And we'll also show you the safe, clean choices that truly protect your health after 70. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which fish belong on your plate, and which might be stealing years from your life without you even realizing it. Fish number 1, farmed salmon. The healthy fish that's quietly hurting your gut. For years, salmon has been the golden child of health. Doctors recommend it. Nutritionists praise it. Seniors grill it, bake it, and enjoy it faithfully, believing they're protecting their gut and brain with every bite. But here's what most people don't realize. Not all salmon is created equal, and the type you'll find most often in grocery stores today, farmed salmon, may be doing far more harm than good. Let's look beneath the surface. Farm salmon are raised in huge pens, often packed shoulder to shoulder in artificial ponds or coastal cages. Instead of feeding on their natural diet of plankton and small fish, they're given processed pellets made from grains, soy, and fish oil. This unnatural diet changes the fish itself, right down to its fat composition and color. Compared to wild-caught salmon, farmed salmon contains up to 5 times more omega-6 fats, the same inflammatory fats linked to gut lining stiffness and microbiome imbalance. They also have higher levels of saturated fat, which can quietly raise bad cholesterol that clogs your gut's absorption. And that's not the worst part. Because farm salmon are raised in controlled environments, the water and feed often contain persistent industrial pollutants. Chemicals like PCBs and dioxins that have been banned for decades but still linger in the environment. These toxins accumulate in the fatty tissue of the fish, and when you eat them regularly, they begin to accumulate in you. According to environmental health perspectives, PCB levels in farm salmon are up to 8 times higher than in wild salmon. Another report by the European Food Safety Authority warned that frequent consumption could increase long-term risks of gut disease, cognitive decline, and even certain cancers. I once met a patient named Richard, 67, who switched to eating salmon 3 times a week after his doctor told him it was the best protein for your gut. But when his blood work came back 6 months later, his inflammatory markers were higher, not lower. The culprit: he'd been buying the discounted farmed salmon, bright pink phyllolilids labeled color added. When he switched to wild-caught Alaskan salmon, his inflammation levels dropped, his energy improved, and his gut stabilized. The truth is simple. Salmon itself isn't the problem. The source is: if you want to keep salmon on your plate safely, choose wild-caught Alaskan salmon, especially sockeye or koo. These live in clean, cold waters with naturally lower toxin levels. Avoid farmed Atlantic salmon, especially those labeled color-added. The pink hue often comes from synthetic dyes, not nature. Limit salmon to 1 to 2 servings per week, enough for benefits without accumulating pollutants. And if you enjoy smoked salmon, make sure it's wild-caught and low in sodium, since most smoked farm varieties are salty, another hidden trigger for gut inflammation. The bottom line: salmon can be one of the best or worst foods for your gut, depending entirely on where it comes from. So the next time you see that perfectly pink phyllolit at the supermarket, take a closer look at the label. If it says farmed, do your gut a favor and leave it behind. Fish number 2, tilapia. The light fish that secretly feeds inflammation. Walk into almost any supermarket in America and you'll see it. stacks of clean, pale fillets labeled tilapia. It's affordable, mild in flavor, and cooks in minutes. For many older adults, it feels like the perfect light dinner, low in calories, low in fat, and easy on digestion. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Tilapia is one of the most misleading foods on the market. Behind its reputation as a gut-healthy fish lies a serious problem that most people over 70 never hear about. A problem that can quietly inflame your gut and raise your risk of leaks. Nearly all tilapia sold in the U.S. today is farmed, not wild caught. And most of it comes from enormous industrial fish farms overseas, places where the fish are raised in shallow, crowded ponds with thousands of others. The water quality is often poor, and the diet a mix of corn, soy, and sometimes animal byproducts, foods that no fish would ever eat in the wild. This unnatural lifestyle changes everything about the fish, its texture, its nutrients, even its chemistry. Instead of being rich in omega-3 fatty acids, the kind that protect your gut, farmed tilapia is packed with omega-6 fats, which promote inflammation. In fact, research shows that the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in tilapia can reach 11.1, worse than many fried meats or processed foods. That imbalance is a hidden danger for older adults. Omega-6 fats make your gut lining stickier and less flexible, two major ingredients for leaks and bloat. A study from Wake Forest University School of Medicine made this clear. In terms of inflammatory potential, farmed tilapia is worse than eating a hamburger or bacon. For seniors trying to lower cholesterol and blood pressure, that's a devastating irony. You think you're choosing something light and clean, but your body reads it as a heavy, inflammatory food. And that's not all. Because of poor farming conditions, tilapia often contains trace amounts of antibiotics, pesticides, and heavy metals from contaminated ponds. These residues can strain your liver and increase oxidative stress, silent inflammation that builds up over time. I once worked with a woman named Linda, 72, who ate tilapia 3 or 4 times a week because it was easy and inexpensive. She baked it, grilled it, even added it to salads. But when her blood work came back, her triglycerides were high and her inflammation markers were off the charts. When she switched to wild-caught salmon and sardines, her numbers improved within months, and she told me, "I had no idea the cheapest fish was costing me my health." The takeaway: tilapia gives the illusion of health while quietly fueling the very inflammation you're trying to avoid. If you truly want a clean, light fish that supports your gut, choose wild-caught cod, haddock, or pollock. Mild in flavor, but naturally rich in omega-3s. Try wild trout or Alaskan salmon once or twice a week for anti-inflammatory benefits. Always check labels. If it doesn't say wild-caught, it's almost certainly farmed. The bottom line is this: tilapia might save you a few dollars at the store, but it could cost you years of gut health down the road. Fish number 3. Canned tuna. The hidden gut risk sitting in your pantry. For decades, canned tuna has been a symbol of convenience and health. It's quick, inexpensive, and often marketed as a gut-healthy protein. Many older adults keep a few cans in the pantry for an easy lunch, a tuna sandwich, a salad topping, or a light dinner with crackers. But here's what most people don't realize. Not all tuna is safe for your gut, and eating the wrong kind too often can quietly increase your leak risk. Let's start with the biggest danger: mercury. Tuna, especially larger species like albacore or white tuna, naturally accumulate mercury, a toxic heavy metal that builds up in the body over time. Unlike other toxins, mercury doesn't just pass through your system. It settles in your tissues, particularly in your brain, heart, and blood vessels, where it can stay for months, even years. Once there, mercury begins to damage the delicate inner lining of your arteries, known as the endothelium. That damage makes your blood vessels stiffer and less flexible, increasing blood pressure and making it easier for plaque to form. It also disrupts electrical signaling in your heart and interferes with the flow of oxygen to your brain, two direct pathways to stroke. A major study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that people with higher mercury levels in their blood had a 60% higher risk of dying from heart-related causes even if they ate fish regularly. Now you might be thinking, but I only eat tuna once or twice a week. That sounds safe. But here's the catch. Mercury accumulates in your body, and as we age, our detox systems naturally slow down. That means even small amounts consumed consistently over time can build up to harmful levels. Then comes the sodium problem. Most canned tuna, especially those packed in oil or brine, contain 300 to 500 milliroods of sodium per serving, nearly a quarter of your daily limit in one small can. If you mix it with mayonnaise, pickles, or processed bread, as most people do, that sodium load skyrockets, putting your heart under serious strain at the exact time it needs rest. I once spoke with George, a 70-year-old retired teacher who proudly told me he'd replaced red meat with tuna sandwiches for lunch every day. When his blood pressure spiked and his doctor tested his mercury levels, they were 3 times higher than normal. George thought he was protecting his heart, but his arteries were quietly under siege. The good news is you don't need to give up tuna completely. You just need to eat it smarter. Here's how. Choose light tuna packed in water, not oil or brine. It usually comes from smaller fish like skipjack, which have much lower mercury levels. Read the label carefully. Look for no salt added or low sodium versions. Limit canned tuna to once every 2 weeks, especially the albacore or white varieties. Rotate your protein sources. Alternate tuna with sardines, wild-caught salmon, or mackerel for cleaner omega-3s and fewer toxins. The bottom line, canned tuna might seem like a healthy, affordable choice, but over time it can quietly poison your arteries, thicken your blood, and stress your brain. So before you open that next can, take a moment to check the label and remind yourself a simple swap today could mean a stronger heart and a sharper mind for years to come. Fish number 4. Swordfish. The luxury choice that's loaded with hidden toxins. For many people, swordfish feels like a treat. Thick, meaty, and elegant. You'll see it featured on restaurant menus as a premium seafood option, often grilled to perfection and praised as a lean, high-protein choice for the heart. But beneath its clean, white flesh lies a hidden danger that few people, especially those over 60, ever hear about. Swordfish is one of the most contaminated fish in the ocean. And for older adults, it's not just unhealthy, it can be downright dangerous. Here's why. Swordfish are apex predators, meaning they sit at the very top of the marine food chain. They feed on smaller fish for years, sometimes decades. During that time, they accumulate massive amounts of mercury, a toxic heavy metal that builds up in their flesh to levels 20 to 30 times higher than smaller fish like sardines, anchovies, or trout. The FDA lists swordfish among the top 4 most mercury-contaminated fish in the world, right alongside shark, king mackerel, and tilefish. And for seniors, this matters more than ever. Mercury doesn't just affect your brain. It attacks the entire cardiovascular system. It damages the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of your arteries, making them stiff and less able to expand. It raises blood pressure. It increases oxidative stress, creating silent inflammation that thickens artery walls. And it disrupts brain signaling, causing symptoms like dizziness, memory lapses, and tremors, which many people mistake for normal aging. A study in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that adults with the highest blood mercury levels were 70% more likely to experience a stroke or heart attack than those with low levels. I once met a man named Robert, 71, who loved grilled swordfish steaks. He cooked them twice a week, thinking he was doing his heart a favor by avoiding red meat. But over time, he began feeling unusually fatigued, forgetful, and shaky. When his doctor ran tests, Robert's mercury levels were 4 times higher than normal. After cutting out swordfish completely, his symptoms gradually faded, proof that sometimes the most refined choices can be the most dangerous ones. Here's the critical truth. Mercury doesn't disappear overnight. Once it's in your system, it can take months, even years, for your body to clear it, especially as detoxification naturally slows with age. So, if swordfish has been on your dinner rotation, it's time to make a smart switch. Avoid swordfish entirely, especially if you're over 60, or have a history of high blood pressure, choose smaller, short-lived fish like sardines, anchovies, wild trout, or salmon. They're rich in omega-3s and naturally low in mercury. If you crave a meaty texture, go for mahi-mahi or Pacific halibut. Both hearty, flavorful, and far safer for your arteries. And if you've eaten swordfish regularly for years, ask your doctor about a mercury test. A simple blood or hair analysis can reveal whether your levels are high. The bottom line is simple. Swordfish might look luxurious on your plate, but it's a toxic trap for your heart and brain. The same size and strength that make it king of the sea also make it one of the most mercury-laden foods you can eat. So next time you're at a restaurant and see grilled swordfish on the menu, remember it's not worth the risk. Your heart, your memory, and your long-term vitality deserve better. Fish number 5, catfish. The southern favorite that quietly hurts your gut. If you grew up in the South, chances are you have fond memories of crispy golden catfish, family picnics by the lake, church fish fries on Fridays, that familiar crackle of cornmeal coating hitting the hot oil. It's more than a meal. It's tradition, nostalgia, and comfort on a plate. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Today's catfish isn't the same fish your parents or grandparents used to catch. The majority of catfish sold in America, whether fresh at the market or frozen in fillets, now comes from industrial fish farms, not rivers or natural ponds. And that difference changes everything about its nutrition, safety, and effect on your gut. Let's take a closer look at what really happens on modern catfish farms. In these crowded, shallow ponds, thousands of fish share the same limited space. Oxygen levels drop, waste builds up. To keep the fish alive, farmers add chemicals, antibiotics, and antifungals to the water. The fish are also fed cheap pellets made from corn, soy, and animal byproducts, not the small crustaceans and insects they'd naturally eat in the wild. The result, a fish that grows fast but loses its gut protective qualities. Compared to wild catfish, farmed catfish contain up to 4 times more omega-6 fats, which cause inflammation, less omega-3, the very nutrient that protects your gut, higher levels of saturated fat that raise LDL cholesterol, trace residues of antibiotics and pond chemicals. A study in the Journal of Food Composition and Analysis found that farmed catfish have an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio that can reach 4.1, an inflammatory profile strongly linked to gut lining damage, thicker arteries, and higher leak risk. And here's something most people never hear about. Catfish farms, especially in the hot southern states, can accumulate ammonia and nitrites, toxic byproducts of fish waste. When consumed over time, these compounds contribute to oxidative stress and vascular inflammation, 2 of the main culprits behind gut disease. So, if you love catfish, and who doesn't, here's how to make it a part of your gut-safe diet. Avoid imported or farmed catfish, especially from Asia. These often contain higher levels of contaminants and antibiotics. Look for labels like wild-caught or U.S. farm-raised antibiotic-free. Skip the deep fryer. Instead, bake, grill, or broil your catfish with olive oil and herbs. Pair your meal with potassium-rich vegetables, spinach, broccoli, or asparagus to offset sodium and support healthy gut pressure. If you crave that crispy texture, coat your fish in almond flour, crushed oats, or cornmeal. Drizzle lightly with olive oil and bake until golden. The bottom line is simple. Catfish might save you a few dollars at the store, but it could cost you years of gut health down the road. Now you've seen it. 5 types of fish that millions of older adults eat every single week, believing they're protecting their gut, when in fact, some of them may be silently doing the opposite. The truth is, not all seafood is created equal. Some fish like wild salmon, sardines in water, trout, or anchovies truly nourish your gut, sharpen your mind, and keep your digestion flowing smoothly. But others, packed with mercury, sodium, and industrial toxins, can quietly inflame your belly, raise your pressure, and set the stage for leaks. After 60, your body changes. Your gut becomes more sensitive. Your detox systems slow down. And the foods that once helped you might now hurt you without you even noticing. But here's the good news. You have the power to change that. Starting with your next meal, by choosing cleaner, smaller wild-caught fish, by limiting fried and processed seafood, by reading labels and questioning what's really in your can or fillet. You can lower your leak risk, stabilize your gut, and even boost your energy and memory in just a few weeks. Because it's not just about avoiding danger. It's about embracing vitality. It's about waking up clear-headed, strong, and ready to enjoy every moment with your loved ones without fear, without fatigue, and without another hospital visit. Remember the simple rule. If it's wild, small and clean, it heals.
If it's farmed, fried, or salty, it harms.
Every choice you make at the grocery store or dinner table is a small investment in your independence, your clarity, and your years ahead. So next time you reach for fish, pause and ask yourself, is this feeding my gut or fighting it? If today's guide helped you, please take one small step. Hit the like button to support this growing community. Subscribe to Elder Guardian, where every video is designed to help you live longer, stronger, and sharper. And share this video with someone you love, because knowledge like this doesn't just save lives, it extends them. Stay healthy, stay curious, and remember, your best years aren't behind you, they're the ones you're building right now. Take care.